Hey folks, you having trouble deciding what kind of smoker you want to buy? I understand. There's a lot of options out there. Let me see if I can help you out a little bit. Hey guys, I know you have a ton of choices to make when it comes to buying a smoker. It's hard to know which one will fit your situation best. So we'll look at some smokers here, some pros and cons of each, and find one that fits your situation best and have you smoking by this weekend. Let's go. Alright folks, the first smoker we're looking at today is the electric smoker. Now this is the smoker I got started on when I started smoking many years ago. I'll tell you why a little bit later. The pros for this thing are actually fantastic. Well, first and foremost, it's plug and play. You can plug it in and start smoking right away. The second is you get good consistent temperatures with it. You set it for 225, it's going to stay at 225. And thirdly, and to me the biggest one, is the fact you can put a pork butt in tonight and go to bed and wake up tomorrow morning and have barbecue tomorrow. Kind of nice. You can sleep right through the whole process. Now the cons are also just as significant. The first and foremost is the fact that you don't get nearly the smoke flavor you're going to get with a wood burning smoker or something like that. This is not going to have nearly the smoke flavor that would have. Secondly is, this is a big one, is the fact you have to have electricity in order to power it. You can't take it to the beach or go camping with it, you know where to plug it in. So you got to have that. So that's the third, or second. The third one, and this is just something for me, is you get a little less bark formation when you use electric smoker. You don't get the convection you're going to get with a traditional wood burning smoker with the airflow going through the smoker and pulling it across. That's what you get your bark formation from, is on that. So that really is a big part of it. So let me get the camera off the tripod and I'll bring it up closer and let you get a closer look at the smoker. Okay guys, that's a Masterbuilt brand smoker, and they're very common. They're actually at Lowe's. And if you come up here and look at the control panel on the smoker, you'll see that you can set this thing for, you have on and off buttons, you have the temperature control and time control. You can set it up to 24 hours as well as 275 degrees, which I think is the max, which is probably long enough for most things, but you could, it's not great, but it's good enough. So the other thing too is you can add wood chips to it by this tray. You actually put chips in here and you slide them in. You dump them over top of the heating element, and that allows the heating element to heat them up and make them smoke. So the thing about this thing is, the biggest thing about it is so easy to use. Like I said a minute ago, it was my first smoker, and the reason why I liked it so much at that time is because I couldn't get much smoke flavor on there. I had to get really good at my marinades and my rubs and making those and have a lot of flavor to them to add to the piece of meat I was smoking. So that really got my marinade and rub game going. So that really helped me get started in the whole process of learn how to smoke meat, and this was a great option for you. So anybody starting off, this is a great option for you to start with. So like I said, budget friendly, easy to use, and it'll get you going in the right direction from the get-go. So guys, we'll move on to the next one, and we'll see you just in a second. Hey folks, this is the Weber Kettle, and the Weber Kettle is probably the most popular grill in the country. I'm sure you've seen one on TV or at your friend's house or the neighbors or going down the street on the side of the road, whatever the case may be. I know you've seen one of these probably. They're very been around for a long time, since the 1950s. What's nice about them is their number one list on the list of pros is versatility. Now I'll put a card up here in the right hand corner of your screen taking you to a video where I show all the different attachments you can add to it, one of which is a smoker attachment called the Slow and Sear. And that thing makes this turn into a fantastic smoker. It does a really great job. So number one list on the list of pros is versatility. Number two is affordability. It's actually very affordable. This one's a little more expensive, this model, but there's a base model is $99, I think is what the most often you'll see, and you find them on sale sometimes for less than that. But that's not, in the world of smokers, that's very affordable. Third, they're very portable. Whether you get a small one or a big one, they're very lightweight. You can move them around pretty easily. Now, when it comes to the cons, the first and foremost is there's not a lot of space to cook on. So if you're cooking for a lot of people every time, this is not for you. If you're cooking for your family of 2 or 4 or 6, absolutely you can do that. You use this smoker. But there's not a lot of space, you can't do a lot on there. Secondly is temp control. There's a learning curve when it comes to managing the temperature. Patience, it takes some patience, and it's not just a push button thing. You've got to figure it out and maneuver and manipulate the dampers and that kind of thing. Easy to do, but takes a while. There's a learning curve there. And third is there's no buttons. Everything's by you. It's all on you. You don't have any, there's nothing automated about this at all. So that's the thing about the Weber Kettle that probably, those 3 things are the hardest things about it. But other than that, man, they're great. It's a fantastic piece of equipment. I love this thing. I use it all the time for a grill and a smoker. And I think you would do very well to have one of these because it's so versatile. So there you go, guys. On to the next one. All right, guys. I don't even know who these people are. I just saw them using their pellet smoker the other day. I thought I'd stop by here and That dog's gonna get me caught, man. I just want to show y'all this. I'm just kidding, y'all. These are friends of mine. Just kidding. This is actually what you call a pellet smoker, guys. This is probably the most common used smoker out there today. I'd say 70 to 80% of the meat that gets smoked this weekend will be on one of these things. Now, the pros of these things are the ease of use. That's fantastic. They're easy to use. Number one would be ease of use, because they're so easy to you just actually dial it in and it's good to go. You can actually set your temperature, and I'll show you up close here in a minute. I'll get the camera off the tripod and show you up close. But you can set the dial to whatever you want to go to. And number two, to actually be consistent temps. You get to the temps stay pretty consistent while you're using it, no problem. And third is versatility. You can use it as a smoker, or you can turn the crank way up to 700 degrees and use it as a searing agent, anything like that, grill, whatever you want to do. So it has a lot of versatility in that regard. The downside, the cons of it are going to be, number one, it's electrical. It requires electricity. So you have to have somewhere where you can plug it in. Another con would be the fact that it's not very portable. Of course, it's not portable for the fact that it needs electricity wherever you can't take it to the beach or, camping, because you have nowhere to plug it in. Also, it's kind of heavy because it has a motor in there that pushes the pellets through, and that's kind of heavy too. Adds some problems to it as well. So, and for me, the final con would be it actually is a bottom-up type smoker. So the heat comes from the bottom of the where the grate is. I like to do a top-down type smoke where I have the fat facing up and it can render that fat down. That's for me. Other people have no problem with that. That's my preference, so I call it a con for me. So, but I'll get the camera off of the tripod and bring it over here and show you this stuff up close. Just one second. All right, folks, we're going to zoom in here on the control panel to the left of the cook chamber, and notice right there's a dial where you can set the temperature you want to set it for. And that lets you to set it to 225, 250, whatever the case may be that you choose. There's also a P value setting on these smokers, and that allows you to adjust the amount of smoke going in to the smoke chamber, and you can increase or decrease that. So early on, typically about the first 4 hours of your smoke, you want to add more smoke, and you can actually decrease it as time goes on throughout the cook. Now, the pellet hopper, which is right above this, the door's open to it. I'll show you the pellets in there. You can fill this all the way up to the top, and it'll feed pellets. So you can have different flavors, if you will. So you have oak or cherry or apple or pecan, whatever you want. And what will happen is there's a motor at the bottom of this control panel that actually will auger the pellets into the smoker. And there's a bottom of the smoker, there's a little cup that the pellets fall into that ignites the pellets and kind of makes them, just kind of lets them turn into embers and kind of smokes them and causes the heat in the smoker. So obviously, the higher you have the temperature set, the more pellets will go in there, and the higher your flame will be, and the more heat you'll have. So it works really well. There's a number of different brands of these. This is, like I said, called Pit Boss. These are, I think, available at Lowe's, maybe even Walmart now. There's a Traeger, which is typically at Bass Pro Shops, maybe even Home Depot. There's Rec Tech, which I think is just they sell from their own website. There's Yoder smokers, Y-O-D-E-R. They're getting kind of pricey. They're very, very well known and very well reputed, but there's that option too. So there's a number of options you can go with depending on your budget and what it is you're looking for. Each one has different bells and whistles. So, but this gets you an idea of what the pellet smoker looks like, and there's an option for you depending on your budget, and you have different choices to make within this genre of smoker as well. All right, guys, on to the next one. Next up, guys, drum smokers. Now, drum smokers have been around for quite some time. Obviously, drums have been around for quite some time. People have turned them into smokers years ago. So one thing about them that's nice is they're affordable. Now, there's different sizes, of course, and so the prices can vary according to size. But as a rule, they're considered very affordable. Number two, they're very easy to use. They're a charcoal-fired smoker, charcoal on the bottom. Not hard to grasp that, right? And then third is, of course, the footprint's very small. 55-gallon drum is a circular drum. Obviously, you can fit it pretty much anywhere. Now, the cons, though, number one is kind of contrary to what I said. It's hard to get the grasp of the temperature control. So they're easy to use and easy to get going, but then you got to figure out how to manage your temperature control with your dampers and vents. Number two is the fact that there's not a space. They're very deep but not very wide, so you're looking at a smaller space to smoke stuff in. The deeper you go, of course, the hotter it gets. So you got to be careful there. And third con is there's a lot of build quality variation. So a lot of people are making these things. Some of them are not nearly as good quality as others. So make sure you get one that's got a good reputation. It's a good, heavy, well-built smoker that you can keep for a long time. So, but that wraps up drum smokers, guys. Next, guys, will be the ceramic grills or the Big Green Egg, Kamado Joe's, that type of grill or smoker. Now the thing about them, the biggest number one pro on their list would be heat retention, where they're so thick, the ceramic's so thick and so well built, they have great heat retention. Secondly, would be versatility. They can be used as a smoker or a grill, and they have a lot of different attachments they can add to them and do a lot of different things within the green egg. And third, kind of a tie in my mind, was the durability and the fuel efficiency. You know that with the heat retention like it is, the charcoal will last a long, long time in those things. They'll do a very good job with that. Now we'll look at the cons and the bad side of things when it comes to the big green egg or ceramic type grills, smokers. First is cost. They are very expensive. They're well built, but they're very expensive. Secondly would be their weight. They're very, very heavy, hard to move around, not very portable. Not something you want to pick up and put in the car and go to the beach with. So definitely something that's not good. And then third and finally is the space. There's not a lot of space on those when you're comparing it to something like a big offset or even an average offset. There's not that much space. So they do a good job. But they're very, very fuel efficient, have some good flavor to them, but there's not very good space-wise, and they're very expensive. So there you go, guys. There's a wrap up on the ceramic grills, the big green egg style and Kamado Joe style. All right, guys, next is gravity-fed smokers. Now, gravity-fed smokers weren't around when I first started smoking, but they've become more and more popular nowadays. Now, the number one thing, just so you know, they are actually charcoal-fired, and charcoal goes down in this chute you see right here, the top of this box. You take this lid off and you put charcoal down through there, and you put wood chunks intermingled with that charcoal, and it cooks down very slowly. So you actually, number two is actually you can set it and forget it. You can set the temperature and walk away for quite some time, not have to worry about manning it like you would another smoker that takes a lot of man time. And third is large capacity. There's a lot. You can fit a lot of meat and food in the smoker, so it's very nice to have that as well. Now, as far as cons go, they are pricey. They're not cheap. They are not. Yeah, they're pricey. Second is you got to learn to operate it. It takes a little bit of time. There's some learning curve there as well. Like most of these smokers, there's a learning curve involved. So it's not hard, but it does take some time. So get ready for that. And then lastly, footprint is very large. Takes up a big space area. Not all of them, but most of them are going to be substantially sized. To where it's not like a Weber kettle or something like that. It's going to be more space consumption than that would be. So, and so you definitely actually add, wood chunks to your charcoal to help with the flavor of that, and it seems to work. It works great. So, but that's it for gravity fed smoker, guys. There you go. All right, guys. Here's the final one: the offset smoker. This is a traditional smoker. The number one thing about traditional smoker like this, number one pro, is that wood flavor, that wood smoke flavor, whether it's oak wood or pecan or apple or cherry. This thing can put it on there. It makes food taste so good. Number two is the space you have. It's a lot more space in the cook chamber than anything else I've shown you so far. And number three is the versatility I have with inside the smoker. I can smoke anything I want there, whether it be chicken or brisket or pork ribs or pork butt. A lot of versatility. Now, when it comes to the cons, number one on the list for me is fire management, because it takes so much time. You got to stay with it and stay on top of it. You can't go to bed. You can't, go to the store real quick while it's running. You got to stay with it and stay on top of it. Number two is the fact that there's a lot of learning curve with it as far as running the dampers and the airflow and the convection in there. It's a big learning curve there for sure, no doubt. And then third is the footprint. It's quite big, takes up a lot of space in your garage, or your back porch or your deck. You got to plan for that and have an idea where you're going to put it and where you're going to keep it. So that wraps up the smokers. Let's do a real quick recap. All right, folks, that wraps up our review of all the different kind of smokers are out there. We talked about the electric smoker, Weber kettle, the pellet smoker, the drum smoker, the ceramic smoker, the offset smoker, and the gravity-fed smoker. So we got to decide which one's best for you now, right? So if you're looking at it from a budget perspective, you're definitely looking at the Weber kettle or the electric smoker. The difference with electric smoker is going to be that all it is a smoker. Look at the Weber kettle. You can do all kinds of different things with it: smoke, grill, Santa Maria cook, rotisserie cook. There's a lot of different things you can do with that. So if you're looking from a budget perspective, my vote is hands down going to be the Weber kettle. I think it's the best option you have, and you can do a lot with it, learn a lot from it, and move on from there. If you're looking at spend a little bit more money and you want a little more ease of use and ease to get into this, a pellet smoker is definitely a more popular way to go when it comes to that kind of thing. If you're looking at ease of use and something you can go to sleep with and let it cook while you're sleeping, a pellet smoker is definitely the route you want to take. You won't get quite as much wood smoke flavor on it as you would with a wood offset smoker, but darn close and do a great job. So definitely something you could consider. would be a pellet smoker. If you're looking at something that's really kind of pricey and gets more of a charcoal wood flavor on there, look at the gravity fed smoker, but it's definitely going to be pricey for you. But there's something you could go with too. A little more advanced, both it and the pellet smokers, but you still would be fine with either one. The offset smoker is something you want to definitely maybe wait on if you've not got any smoking experience at all. You'll get frustrated, you don't know what's going on, and you can't figure things out. Get some more experience. So like I said before, the electric smoker was great for me to learn different rubs and marinades, that kind of thing, as I was learning how to do that and get the smoke going on. But the electric smoker, it's a great option if you want to have a smoker for sure. But it's not, and it'll have more space in an electric smoker than you would on a Weber kettle. But then you're stuck with just a smoker. You can't really grill on. You can't grill on it at all. So that's why Weber kettle. Out of all the things I mentioned today, if I was starting right now, would definitely be the Weber kettle. I use mine all the time. I think it's probably your best option. That's my vote. No matter where you live, I think you could do great with a Weber kettle as long as you got a little bit of a yard. If you live in an apartment and have a balcony, hey, sure, actually, electric smoker would be fabulous for that because you can put it on your back porch, on your balcony. There's not a lot of smoke coming off of it, so you could do that and no one would ever know you had it. They'd smell it, I guess, a little bit, but it wouldn't be an issue with you. So that's something to consider too. So, but guys, I think that's giving you plenty of options here. You can definitely go through it and look at it again, watch the video again, learn some more pros and cons about all the different ones. Hopefully you found something you could use, and hopefully you'll get to smoking soon. And hey, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that support. I know where you'll find me. I'll meet you at the smoker.